No, matter how annoying it has been, I really do understand why so many Black people have been participating in this very kind of weird anti-Black Christian moment, right? And it's because of slavery. And that's really my final answer. Yeah, because Black people have needed heaven. Black people need to go to heaven. And Black people need heaven. Black people need God in a way that no other group of people have ever needed God. You know why? Because Black people have not believed historically that we would ever really experience the fullness of freedom in these bodies. By and by, we'll understand it better by and by. I'll fly away. We want to mount up on wings. We have decided we don't believe in freedom here so much that we have decided historically as a people that we need to get us some wings and fly home. And by home, we have either meant Africa, think the rebellion at Eagle Landing, where a group of enslaved Africans overthrew their captors and then walked into the water. And the legend is that they got wings and flew home. And or the way that there are many people who retell the story and they say they flew home, they flew away. But it's told as the largest mass suicide of a group of enslaved Africans that ever happened. So we're going to either fly home, we're going to wait till heaven, we're going to understand we got to get to heaven. And that is because of slavery. That is because it was so brutal and violent. And anything from our culture, including our language, including our spiritual technologies, they were attempting to strip it away from us so violently to the point that if heaven was the thing that was being offered in exchange for our culture, okay, because I got to get to heaven. Baby, I'm willing to give up this Blackness. That's the reason why you see Black people, it feels like a shuck and a jive, right? Saying stuff like, it's kingdom over culture. No other group of people ever have to say anything like that. There are no other group of people. You have never heard an Asian person say, I'm Christian before I'm Asian. They don't have to, because saying stuff like that is a part of our performance. It's part of the performance of our piety. It's part of the performance of our righteousness. It's part of the way that we, get the world and hopefully God to see and to believe that we really are, I'm not invested in this flesh. I just need to get to heaven. And yeah, it's absolutely because of white supremacist delusion. I'm only laughing because I feel like people can hear me like actually stating actual factual things and still be like, oh, you're pulling the race card. The race card can only be pulled because it's a card in the deck. It's a real card. It's there. No matter how annoying it has.
Good morning and welcome to the Friday edition of Let It Be Known. I'm your host, Stacy Brown.
Peace and love, everybody. I'm Niele Anderson, and we have a full packed show for you, full of headlines that will hopefully inspire and uplift you, as well as bringing you the hard-hitting news that we just have to talk about this morning.
Everybody's got a platform in the pulpit. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going against what she's saying. I'm not going to take her out of heaven. That's not my job. But we can't speak for all people, right? Black folks can't speak for all Black folks, like white folks can't speak for all white folks. But I get where she's going, though.
And in the words of the church, amen.
Oh gosh. So you had to throw in the amen to it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, hey, you talk about heaven. You talk about, at the end you give the benediction and you say, seal it with an amen, or in our African tradition we say ashe.
Oh, okay. Like you said, it's a packed show. We start again. Let me just offer this little disclaimer. It's Friday. Again, we wanted to be light, but sometimes things happen. We're gonna try and throw some lightness in there.
Yeah.
Make it
We'll throw
heavy.
some.
Yeah. Because it is Friday, and it's bad enough when we got to go through the muck and mire, as they say, of the week. But here we are.
Yeah.
Police arrested more than a dozen New York State and city elected officials yesterday at 26 Federal Plaza, the Manhattan Immigration Court and an Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office, many as they pressed to gain access to the building's 10th floor lockup, where recent court rulings, including a temporary restraining order, directed ICE not to cram immigrants into overcrowded, unsanitary conditions. The lawmakers and other officials were arrested around 3:45 p.m., and they say they were attempting to conduct oversight following
Mhm.
claims that people appearing for court hearings were being confined for hours or days without proper food, medical care, or contact with attorneys, Niele.
Oh, I mean, the more power, the more this clan gets away with, the more they wreak havoc. I mean, and this is just, another story about how we're in a state of emergency.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Lawmakers being arrested. The president is now ordering that, looking into firing the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District in Virginia because allegedly or supposedly he couldn't find any evidence that New York Attorney General Letitia James has done anything illegal. Just
Mhm.
so he's mad because she's innocent. But you know what? This is where we at. I forgot to acknowledge that it is Swag T-shirt day. Nielle's not wearing Gremlin, but she's always got Gremlin in her mind and heart. And Orangey is wearing Bethune Cookman. So good for
Well,
Orangey.
I'm wearing my 1619
Oh, you got 16
our
nights. I didn't. Oh,
ancestors Spike Lee
okay.
t-shirt. So, I'm keeping it
Oh, yeah.
black.
There you go. There you go. Stay, stay black, stay strong.
There we go.
But this is this stuff arresting um these officials is just it's off the rails. It's off the rails.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the sign, the memo. Like, what are we supposed to do? I'm still waiting for it. Like, when is it coming? I mean, I see that there are protests coming up in October. And so I'm just waiting for that because there is a moment.
Hmm.
There are moments. We saw it with the murder of George Floyd. There are moments that everybody responds. I'm just looking for that moment. I don't think we've seen it yet, but I'm looking for it. I'm ready.
But isn't that part of at least the small part or a part of what they are doing though to so that there wouldn't be some sort of response like it was after the George Floyd murder?
I mean, I don't think they can control that because
Mhm.
it's just something that happens and that you're just supposed to respond. I think that we saw it in his first administration with the women's march, the women's movement when, at the time when Tamika Mallory and her other partners were involved. It was like everybody pulled up, even
Mhm.
men came out to support women. Like I said, we saw that with George Floyd. We can always go back to the March on Washington. We can highlight the Million Man March. There are certain movements that happen, and everybody feels like they have to respond. I'm
Mm,
waiting for
yeah.
that movement. I'm waiting for that charge.
Well, so not to well, let me just say this. It took decades and George Floyd's murder before everyone finally came together, right? Black,
Mm,
white, everyone else. And then it spawned other things. I recall Rihanna marching in the Stop Asian Hate March in New York, during all of that. It took forever. So and just think about this. We are only 5 years removed from that.
yeah.
So do we have another few decades before we see that again, or
No,
do
I
you
think
think?
it's coming.
Okay,
It's coming.
that's
It's coming.
okay.
It is definitely coming. I don't know what it's gonna be. I know people are still pissed about Jimmy Kimmel, and we'll get to that a little later in the
In
show.
Hollywood, yeah, exactly.
But you don't know what it's gonna be. But what they're trying to do is Charlie Kirk us. And I don't think that it's happening for them the way they think it is. They're not going to get a nation to respond to racism. And I don't care if they're saying it's civil rights or whatever. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Sunday looks like, because I'm sure of all of this state sanctioned television that Trump has control of, I'm sure all of those people will be airing that funeral. So it'll be interesting to see what Sunday looks like. um I don't think any network is going to resist because they're too
Yeah.
afraid now.
Mm. Well, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully you're right. Hopefully you're right. Because the dam has to break at some point.
Yeah,
And it has to break in the favor of, the majority.
right.
So
The levee's gonna break.
the levee's gonna break. When the levees break. By the way, RNG says he's gonna sing you some swag hoodies. I don't know why he's singling you out. There's two of us here, RNG,
But
but
you didn't go to
nonetheless.
HBCU. Did you go to
No, I did
HBCU?
not. I went
Okay,
to
then don't
a
worry about that. This is
PWI.
HBCU
That's
thing.
HB. Okay, I wouldn't understand. Okay.
We'll invite you to a homecoming so you can. Have you ever been to a HBCU
Oh,
homecoming?
yeah, I went to Howard's homecoming a couple
Oh,
times.
okay,
Yeah.
then ain't no
Me too.
homecoming like a HBCU homecoming.
I know y'all folks be acting up.
And
Y'all
it
be
is
acting up.
HBCU season right now.
It
I mean,
is. It
homecoming
is.
season. So,
Yeah, it is. Mike V is asking about interviewing Mayor Ras Baraka. Um, I have reached out to Mayor Baraka. The problem is his legal team doesn't really want him speaking publicly, at least to the media anyway at this point. But we'll keep trying. Mike, I'm a big fan of Ras Baraka only
mhm.
because of what he accomplished in Newark. We always talked about the situation in Flint, Michigan, which still should be talked about. It's not talked about enough, but they had a very, very similar situation in Newark, New Jersey, and Mayor Baraka got that stuff cleaned up and I mean turned it around among so many other things he's done for that city.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would love to Mike talk to him again soon on the record as soon as possible. Um, Turning our attention abroad, Black maternal health is also a major issue in England. So we're seeing that systemic racism is not just a U.S. problem; it's across the pond. As Black women in England are still facing poorer outcomes in their maternity care because of systemic racism, alongside failures in leadership and data collection. This is according to a group of medical professionals throughout the United Kingdom. Across the UK, Black women are, they say, more than twice as likely to die in childbirth compared with their white counterparts, while babies born to Black mothers are at an increased risk, I should say, of stillbirth.
Mhm.
And a report by the Health and Social Care Committee in England found that these disproportionately poor outcomes in maternity care for Black women were due to a combination of factors, including systemic failures in accountability and leadership, with Black women's concerns not taken seriously due to bias, stereotyping, and racist assumptions. Same thing here.
Mhm. For sure. 100%.
And
Uh,
and yeah, that not taking their concerns not taken seriously. I'm sure I mean, not that you've given birth or anything like that, but as a woman, a Black woman, I know Serena Williams spoke so eloquently about this when she had her issues. I know you can speak to that issue.
I mean, it's just I say it all the time when everybody else catches a cold, Black folks catch pneumonia. I mean, it's systemically designed not to work for us. Some people believe that it's been reported and it is noted that when Black caregivers or health caregivers take care of Black people, it's just a better experience for the patient most of the times. Now, I have heard and I've seen people say that's not true. I've had a Black doctor and they are crap. But statistically, for the most part, it's just the care, that extra care that you get that you don't get from other doctors. I remember there was a young boy, a young man rather, who was in college, and he decided to take all of the medical books. I can't remember his name, but he decided to take all of the medical books and make the people in them Black. And that's just like we're not really a part of the science or the process, right? Like, think about when you go to the doctor. Have you ever seen a Black person on the wall? When you open up the books, do you ever see Black people? It's all based upon white
See white
people.
people.
And so, like, it's just like we have to, it's so much that we have to reimagine because we're not really a part of the infrastructure
Mm,
of anything.
of anything. Goodness grief. Yeah, yeah. You broke it down. It's true. What you just said, 100%. But this it also reminds us that how contagious racism can
Right.
be.
I mean, we'll be the guinea pigs, Henrietta Lacks, Fannie Lou Hamer. She talked about, them taking giving her a hysterectomy without her permission. The
Could you imagine?
Tuskegee
Oh my God.
experiment with the Black men. So
Mm-hmm.
we're definitely the guinea pigs, but we're never really the ones that are thought of when it comes to, science. We're just the guinea pigs.
Yeah. Yeah. No truer words, no more tragic words, but true. Wow. Switching gears, Starbucks
Mhm.
has been sued because of their change to their dress code in Pearson's. Starbucks in Illinois and Colorado, with the third case looming in California. They are being sued after rolling out their strict new dress code. Workers are now limited to solid Black shirts, the green apron, Black khaki or blue denim bottoms, Black dresses no more than 4 inches above the knee.
Mhm.
That takes away the reason to go there. And neutral waterproof shoes. They allow just one facial piercing. Um,
Mm.
Gone is the wider variety of shirts and personal expressions they once had. Employees backed by Workers United, their union, say the company broke the law by refusing to reimburse them for the added cost of new clothes, shoes, and piercing removals. That's always a slippery slope too, right? When you start saying you can't have this piercing or this tattoo or something like that when they've already had it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you have to start out that way. I'm not mad at it. The piercing and the tattoos,
Mhm.
sometimes it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be. I agree.
But I think that, how what they say, how you start is how you finish. They've gone too far,
Yeah, yeah.
in allowing the freedom. And now, but it's their company and their brand, and they could do whatever they want. And if you don't like it,
It-
maybe you want to go to the coffee bean. Maybe
what
the coffee bean, like, will let you do the tattoos and stuff.
what does the chat think of that? I gotta say I can't disagree with what Miel just said. I sometimes the piercings and stuff like that
And
and the
all the
dress and stuff and
tattoos.
I don't think you want to get up in the morning and go to Starbucks and seeing a woman
Ooh.
or man who look like a stripper. When they talk about raising letting that in their they want their dresses to be no shorter than certain whatever is what their new rule is. And also, with your face covered with piercing. I don't know. Maybe many people don't want. I know it's freedom of expression,
Right.
but people, while you have a choice, see, that's where people go wrong. I think when they
Mm.
say, you're free to do this, you're free to do that. There are people who are free not to like it. I mean, am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. And I mean, I think there's a level of professionalism just as a whole from a cultural perspective that we have gotten away from.
Hmm.
It's okay to get all those tattoos, but what type of career field are you trying to go into? Now, if you're
Hmm.
trying to go into a creative space to where, that's acceptable, then that's fine. If you're trying to go into corporate America, then you should think twice about, tattoo. Now, if you have tattoos that nobody sees, that's not a problem. But when you have sleeves, that's what they call them when your arms are
Hmm.
all dressed and you have tattoos up to your neck, you got them on your face, that's not really appropriate. I'm not going to say it's not acceptable, but it's not
Hmm.
appropriate attire or appearance for certain jobs.
Yeah.
Like, would you want your doctor to come in with multiple facial tattoos and piercings and all types of tattoos? Would you feel comfortable accepting their professional assessment over your medical health care?
Well, Patricia Jackson says, I'm not a fan when I see nose rings and dirty tattoos. I wonder if they wash their hands. See, you have that a short skirt with so I'm not sure that part. But John the H says we have to be careful though with that. She says, I get it, but the next day will be coming after locks and tribal marks.
Well, they did the
And
locks in
they
Texas,
did the
remember?
locks.
And
Yeah.
the boy went through the trial for a few years, and it just came back. I think as recent as within a month that the Supreme Court rejected it. His case about his locks.
Mike
So
V said
yeah,
there. Oh, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying we do have to be careful.
We do. Mike V says there are white people who don't like locks but are okay with white men having mohawks in the workplace. The hypocrisy is a bit much. But here's
Mhm.
what I'll say too, Niele. You are again. I would never want to deny anybody the freedom of whether it's expression, freedom of speech, or anything else.
Mhm.
We're in a time. We're living in a time where we have to be careful about certain things. When I travel, for instance, I go on the airplane or whatever, I always make sure to look as decent as possible. When I go check into a hotel, I check in, even if it's a vacation, I try to look businesslike.
Mhm.
Because we are black and brown people, and we are looked at in certain ways. And yeah, yeah, you can say that, you could do what you want, you can look how you want or whatever, but
Mhm.
you invite less issues if you are careful on how you present yourself.
100%. There's a huge conversation going on, just about whether you travel or going to the grocery store about, how people come in their pajamas or they wear those caps. What are the caps called? Put it in the chat. I sleep in them. I just don't know what they're called. But
Well,
just the level of how you carry yourself, it's gone. And I think that it's okay to talk about having a certain standard when you at least, you're talking about traveling. How about when you just go outside to the grocery store?
mhm,
You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? You can, have enough or to go to the mall. You don't need to go to the mall in your pajamas. You don't need to
You
wear a
see so much of
do-rag.
that.
A bonnets. Thank you, Mike V. The bonnets. The
Several of them,
bonnets.
several people helping you out with Bonnet, even Greer and Lydia
They're
Mathis and
like
Dan
bonnets, but
Devine.
I wear them. I couldn't think of it. Thank you. The bonnet. They wear them in the airport. They wear them in the grocery store. They wear them to the mall. And it's just like, have some decency. Get dressed when you go outside.
Hmm. Yeah. And Mike V. Austin says I wear a bonnet. All right, Austin, we better behave yourself over there.
And I like
Um,
what Paula said,
uh-huh.
provide uniform options. That is so true. If you want your employees to be in a certain attire, then you should provide it. They provide the aprons, right? Every
Hmm.
time you go into Starbucks, you see the green aprons. So why not give them a polo?
Yeah. Mike V says it's cool when they do it, and you're right. It for them, but we're in their world, And I'm not saying that you got to be complicit in everything. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that if you want to, there are certain things I believe, and people have difference of opinions, and I get it, and I don't argue with them, but I believe that it's important that we hold ourselves out as a little different.
Well, historically, you know, dressing was an aspect of pride for Black
Yeah.
folks and how you carried yourself, during, slavery, post slavery, when they just went to the store, they put on their Sunday best, you know.
Yeah.
My grandmother, talks about how when they would go to the grocery store, they would have on stockings, fully dressed, going
Hmm.
to the mall. Your appearance
Oh yeah.
mattered. It gave you a sense of dignity. Men wanted to have their suspenders, their tie. They're not going outside with their pants sagging. That was a tradition for Black folks. I don't know how we got away from it, but we should, care about combing our hair when we go outside. It's important. Appearance is everything, and it
You talk
determines how
about
people interact with you.
Yeah, you mentioned grandmas. My grandmother, man, she did not play that. She was going to be, like you said, dressed to the nines, no matter where she was going. She had her hat on, all different
Right.
hats and everything, and she just the dresses and everything. She was not going to be caught slipping. That's for sure,
Yeah.
man.
So yeah, we can do better and we should do better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think about even at sporting events. It used to be until the late '70s. It used to be that folks wore jackets and men wore jackets and ties, and at sporting events.
Right. Austin Cooper says many are too casual in church attire too. Man, but I remember Bishop Noel Jones, he was like, we can't judge them. He said one day somebody came into church and the skirt was too high and the blouse was too low. But, that's all she had to wear. He said she might have just came into church off the street. So we can't judge. We have to be compassionate, but I think you're right. I see now people coming into church with pajamas on, with Daisy
Mhm.
Dukes on.
Yep.
There's just no dress code at all, and it's sad. It's sad to see.
Yeah. All right. TV shows that The Root says Black America wish they could see it for the first time. This is a great, again, I've found a couple of great articles in the last few days or so on The Root. And this one I just thought was cool. I mean, it brings a little light to this dark world. For the first time, some TV shows never lose their grip. They mentioned Idris Elba's Luther, Kerry
Mm,
Washington's Scandal, Snowfall's Franklin Saint, and The
mhm,
Wire's unforgettable Omar Little. They said it still hit like the first watch. They
mhm.
add
Insecure.
Insecure, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, and Harlem. Um, Black audience would love to return again and again. They list about 13 shows in all, in which they believe or say that Black audience wish that they could just see it for the first time again and again.
Oh yeah, I've rewatched Scandal at least 3 times. Same with Insecure, Girlfriends. When you go back and watch Girlfriends, you realize how toxic their friendships were.
Mm,
Insecure, love it. Whenever I want to be inspired by, being an entrepreneur and just getting that LA vibe, you have no choice but to go to Issa Rae and Insecure.
yeah.
So yeah, I think that the older shows now are binge worthy to watch again. I mean, Scandal really, because when we first met Olivia Pope, we thought she was the bomb. When you go back
Mhm.
and watch Scandal now, you realize how treacherous she was and how she was just like her daddy, vicious.
Lydia Matthews says she wants to see Queen Sugar again.
That would be a
But
good rewatch.
but
Hmm.
the great shows, the truly great shows, when you rewatch them, no matter how many times you rewatch them, you seem to always find something that you didn't catch the first 100
Right.
times you watch.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I love Queen Sugar too. Ralph Angel, he got on my nerves every week. I was like, he is such a crybaby and a dumb one, but
A
I
dumb one.
love some Ralph Angel. So yeah, the now that would be, to your point, Stacy, that would be a good one to go back and rewatch to catch the things that you didn't miss. Because like I said, I
Yeah.
caught it in Scandal, I caught it in Girlfriends, Sex in the City. I just think Sex in the City was ahead of their time, because
Yeah.
if you go back and rewatch Sex in the City, everything that they talked about is literally happening now.
Mm. You know what I watch all the time when I get on a plane? I pick one of three. It depends. It may be able to watch two. Depends on how far the plane ride is. But it Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby, Uptown Saturday Night, Let's Do It Again, and a piece of the action.
So
And
you must bring those with you, because I know they're not on the plane.
I
I
bring them
know.
with me. Yeah,
Oh,
without
okay,
question.
yeah. I
It's
know
on
you're
my
not
tablet.
punching that
Uh,
thing in their
yeah,
skin.
it's on my
Okay.
tablet. No, without
Okay.
question. And I tell you, we've always laughed and enjoyed those movies, but every single time I watch, oh, okay, that little nuance, that little thing, okay, I get it now. After all these years, after
Hmm.
all of these years, but those were some of those were movies, not TV shows, obviously, but
Hmm.
those were certain things that you just got. They bring you back to joyful moments and times and stuff like that. And I just think that trilogy was perhaps among the best and most unsung of all Black movies.
Mm. Okay. I
Yeah.
know the ladies in the chat are talking about Greenleaf, and I did like me some Greenleaf. I always thought that it was loosely based on Bishop Charles Blake and First Lady May. And I know Lynn Whitfield, she does go to West
And
Angeles.
Whitfield is
Yeah,
fantastic.
she
Oh my
she goes
gosh.
to West Angeles Church of God in
Oh,
Christ. So
okay.
I always thought that would, especially Lady May. And I think her name
Hmm.
was Lady May in the show. But that
Okay.
was a really good show, showing you the inner workings of how the church really functions and works, and family members who want to be next in line to be the pastor, but the daddy chooses who he wants to be in line with the pastor. It dealt with women in ministry. It was a great show.
Yeah, you mentioned Lynn Whitfield. I think you talk about somebody who deserves flowers and then some. That
Hmm.
I don't think she gets her flowers enough.
Yeah, and I hate
Um,
that they killed her off of The Shy. I was
oh, okay.
heartbroken. Yeah, this last season. I mean, if you haven't watched it by now, me saying that is not a spoiler alert. Sorry if you didn't catch it, because Shy been out for like 2 months now. But yes, they killed. Now she was a vicious bitch in The Shy. Okay, don't
Is that
play
right?
with Mama Lynn. Okay, and so yeah, they killed her off.
Oh, okay. I just think she's awesome. Lynn Whitfield, who doesn't get enough applause. I don't think anyway. But good. Yeah, okay, it's a good talker. I see. A lot of folks have their thoughts on that. Wow.
Yeah,
And a
power.
lot of
Now,
people love Lynn. Lynn, go ahead.
she said, Dr. Marilyn said, yes, The Shy, not Power. Power is, that's another one to go back and watch to see,
Is that
like,
right?
just if it was Ghost or was it Tasha? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Just to go back and see, if Tommy was the issue, because I think that Ghost was trying to get out of the game, and Tasha and
Oh,
Tommy wouldn't let him.
wait a minute now. Pam says the spoiler alert is that she is not dead.
She is dead. Lynn
Uh-oh.
Whitfield is dead. I'd be willing to bet
I
that.
don't watch it, but now I'm curious. We got to find out if she's dead or alive. Timothy
Yeah,
Williams
I
said
think she's dead.
Timothy Williams says Sanford and Son. I watched that like it's my first time ever seeing it. Absolutely. I love Sanford and Son.
Okay. Sanford and Son. You know, it-
Mm.
that wasn't one of my favorites, but I'm not hating
Oh.
on Sanford. No, he was just too ignorant for me. He was just, I
Oh, I
was just
mean,
not,
George
hey,
Jefferson was ignorant,
but he
right?
was, I guess I don't know what it was, but there was a difference. But yeah, they both were ignorant. That is for sure.
You big dummy.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming home. What are you telling me? I'm coming.
He said, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey. Well, wow, Sanford and Son. Robert Redford, let's switch gears right quick. His legacy with black filmmakers are now on display. Of course, he died earlier this week at the age of 89. But the black filmmakers at Sundance Festival helped. He helped lift a lot of black filmmakers there at the Sundance Festival. Barry Jenkins brought Medicine for Melancholy before Moonlight made history.
Mhm.
Ryan Coogler premiered Fruitvale Station, and you remember that. Ava DuVernay won Sundance's Best Director with Middle of Nowhere.
Mhm.
G. Reeves gave us Pariah, and Jordan Peele's Get Out first stunned audiences at his Sundance Festival. So there's a lot of black directors that really benefited from Robert Redford's Sundance Festival.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I know, um, not to tarnish, his memory, but there are a lot of problems with black creators in Sundance. Um, and the ones that do get in, they're very successful, but that's, part of the problem with that festival
Mm,
is that they pick and choose which Negroes are acceptable and which ones are
mm.
not. A lot of black creators complain about that festival, about how hard it is to get into anything unless you are accepted. So, but I mean, the fact that, it's something that we all, black creators want to be a part of, they submit their movies, they do have actual workshops and trainings that, we all can benefit from. So, I mean, it has its pros and cons, but nevertheless, we appreciate him opening those doors at Sundance for black creatives.
Absolutely. Dr. Joni says Robert Redford had such a true love for film and nurturing talent of all sorts, not just acting.
Hmm. And you can't
Very
blame
true.
him for the actual function of the Sundance Festival. He had the vision, which, we're all grateful for. And let me just stop there because I never know if I have a movie I want to be put in Sundance, and this will come back up.
They will scrub social media for you. They will look all through it. They will find what you said and didn't say, right?
I mean, well, I mean, it's facts. A lot of black
Yeah.
creatives complain about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. What you got for us? What else you got for us?
So there, in more headlines, the U.S. Senate passed the resolution. They passed it, y'all, to create a national day of remembrance for Charlie Kirk. Now, this happened on yesterday, and I think also interesting in a closed door meeting in the Capitol basement yesterday morning, top Democrats, I'm talking about Schumer as well as Hakeem Jeffries,
Mm-hmm.
informed rank and file lawmakers that they will support the resolution,
Mm-hmm.
though they will not push other members to do the same. And of course, House Democrat Rep. Jasmine Crockett is planning to vote against the resolution today.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Almost
passed
like
in the Senate, coming down to the House today. And so, this day is expected to pass. And as I mentioned yesterday, October 14th is also the birthday of George Floyd. George Floyd was born on October 14th, 1973. And so when we think about that day, it's probably going to be one of the most divided days this nation has ever seen.
yeah. If you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. And Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer has failed their constituents in some of the worst ways. Now, I'm not just talking about this situation here, um, but just overall. So it's no surprise that they would side with the other side on this. So it's no surprise.
Yeah, it's very disappointing, very disappointing. And I think that Dr. Marilyn brought up a good point. Can't they pass the George Floyd Day too? How about that George Floyd Policing Act bill? Let's get that passed.
Mhm.
So
It's like how okay, I get that the Republicans have the votes. I get that. That doesn't mean you go along with it, right? It's not going to bring any unity in anything,
right. You see what Jasmine Crockett said? She said, I'm
right?
voting no.
Right, exactly. It's I mean, but it
And all,
signals it signals, Niele, or screams, not signals, it screams that you are bought and paid for.
but the thing about a lot of Democrats I was reading, they're saying it's a trap. So they got to go along with it because they're trying to trap them.
Well, then it tells me too that we're also dealing with people who um I thought, especially Hakeem, I thought were very intelligent individuals, but it
Yeah,
tells me I was wrong.
yeah, he needs to follow Jasmine Crockett's lead and vote no. That's what a leader would do. If you're trying to lead us to, where we're supposed to be, and that we are against everything that this Republican clan is doing, your vote should be no, regardless.
Yeah. And Mike V says, where's the resistance? Zero talk about Project 2025 and its impact on your own constituents. And Dr. Joni says, oh, it's all bullying and money and games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where is the resistance, Mike? That's the point. You've been talking about this all year about resistance, Niele.
And where we need it in leadership, it is not happening. And because it's not happening, this next story, the U.S. Department of Education is partnering with the late Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA and the Heritage Foundation. Now, the Department of Education. Now, Linda McCone announced a partnership with more than 40 conservative organizations to create programming in our school system around civics. Now, the department says this coalition will take bold steps to educate, inspire, and mobilize youth towards active and informed citizenship. Now, remember, the 1619 project was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
implemented throughout our
Mm-hmm.
education
Mm-hmm.
system. So this sounds like to me they took that playbook, but
Yep.
instead of telling the truth, they're going to push lies and propaganda to our young kids.
I want to also add some context to this, right? The man who gave Charlie Kirk his start when he was in college or high school, I can't remember how the story goes, gave him $4 million to start Turning Point. And the reason why he did that was because he saw what happened when Barack Obama was running for president, how he mobilized the youth vote. So, so that Turning Point, and so really it was this man, I wish I could remember his name right now, that gave him this money. And I believe he was with the Heritage Foundation to help start Turning Point, was to mobilize and to indoctrinate young people. So now that we have the U.S. Department of Education partnering with the Turning Point, I mean, it's a full circle moment for them.
For sure.
That's some
So,
context.
yeah. So this is what's happening in our country. Instead of us telling the truth about America, they're going to take us in a different direction. So it makes you think: should you do private school now? This is our public school system across the country. This is what they're going to put the funding towards. So it's very important, that, like, going back to local politics, school board meetings, PTA meetings, understand what's about to be implemented within the United States education system. Not teaching our kids about how to be competitive with the world, with AI, and how other countries are advancing technology, and teaching kids as early as kindergarten. They want to teach us conservative shit, racist stuff. All right.
Dangerous,
So,
dangerous times.
Dangerous times. And the times is getting dangerous because it's now happening in Indiana, y'all. Yesterday, Indiana State House was packed with protesters fighting against Indiana Republicans' plans to gerrymander the state. So this isn't just a Texas and California fight, y'all. It's not, because now California is trying to combat what Texas is doing, but the Republicans are, it's like little fires everywhere. So now what other Democratic states are going to combat what's happening in Indiana? What's happening in Louisiana?
Yeah. Well, like I said, when we talked about this before, with I agree with what Gavin Newsom was doing and what Governor Hochul in New York said they were going to do about the maps there. But as I said before, is there? I asked the question: is there enough Democratic-led states to counteract what
Hmm.
the Republican states are doing? And I don't think there is.
Some people say there is a path, but what I'm scared about now is I don't, I'm going to vote yes on Prop 50 here in California, but Arnold Schwarzenegger has already jumped ahead and was at USC this week talking about why it's a bad plan. And just yesterday morning during the news, I already saw no commercials for Prop 50. So
Mm,
they're already ahead of us with the advertising and the push. And so we know traditionally voter turnout is very low when it's a non-presidential election. And if it's a special election, turnout is really low.
mhm,
And so all it takes is for MAGA to because they're one thing that they can do is they can mobilize. They can turn their people up and out,
mm.
especially when it comes to voting. So it's going to be interesting to see, and like I said, going back to leadership, Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, the DNC, the DCCC, where is the messaging and the leadership we need to mobilize people to resist? It's just not there.
Well, Dr. Joni makes a great point too. She says the problem is that blue states have rules that slow down the process of gerrymandering. Red states have horrid governments or governors who are only too happy to do as Trump orders, and
Mm,
that is true. The like New York and Governor Hochul was saying that there's some processes that they have to go through that it's going to take some time.
right, right, right.
So.
And let's head a white rapper known for viral anthems supporting Donald Trump and Republican officials has released a music video with the country singer about public lynchings. So this is where we're at, y'all. The song "Good versus Evil" from MAGA rapper for Jetto Blow and country singer JJ Lawhorn repeats instructions for hanging people at sundown, an apparent reference to sundown towns that violently enforce racial segregation. And the song calls for a big tall tree and a short piece of rope to hang him.
Mm.
And he also uses the N word. Now he's known as the MAGA rapper. And now they're putting out music using the N word and talking about lynchings.
Mm, mm, mm. Dr. Jones says it makes her physically nauseous. It's yeah, they are talking about, see, free speech over here, but no free speech over there.
4G Auto Blow. That's his name. His name is pronounced 4G Auto Blow. 4G
Mm,
Auto Blow.
mm. Well, yeah, Dr. Marilyn, no words.
Oh, Amber
and then yeah,
Rose. I mean,
of
yeah,
course,
okay, she's a
of
friend.
course, of course. I mean, please. And she had, she had out she had been used up, and tossed aside like she should have been, and now she's finding her niche somewhere else. She's high, the highest bidder or the lowest bidder. I don't know. It probably doesn't take much. So whatever.
Yeah. So I mean that's where we are. And finally, we have an update. This Jimmy Kimmel situation, I don't think that it's being broken down into to proper context as we should understand it, because we are going after Disney, but there's two bigger fish that we should be talking about. But first off, Jimmy Kimmel Live was replaced by Celebrity Family Feud, hosted by Steve Harvey. Um, yeah, interesting. After being pulled by Sinclair Broadcasting. Now, while many blame ABC, it was actually conservative leaning Sinclair and Nexstar that actually was the reason why this show was pulled. Now, Sinclair affirmed that they will not lift the suspension until formal discussions are held with ABC. regarding the network's commitment to professionalism and accountability. Now, it should also be noted that the FCC chair has put The View under the spotlight after Kimmel, and The View skipped talking about Jimmy Kimmel. You know, they would have been all over that. And so what you have is Nexstar and Sinclair. Nexstar owns 23 ABC affiliates. Sinclair owns 38 ABC affiliates. So basically what they did was told ABC that we are not going to air it. So you better pull it, because ABC has all of their advertisers and everything. It's like a franchise. You know, you could have a McDonald's, you know, but if the person owns so many, they can take control. And so basically what they did a coup on Disney. It's not Disney. It's Donald Trump's friends at Nexstar and Sinclair. Those are the people that pulled Jimmy Kimmel, and they forced Disney to do it. And so now Disney has the backlash of people saying we're not going to Disneyland, cancel Hulu, cancel ESPN, cancel, Disney, when really Sinclair and Nexstar. And Nexstar is doing a deal with Tegna. I brought that up yesterday, right? Tegna owns about 20 ABC affiliates. And so the FCC told Nexstar, if you want Tegna, then you need to make sure that you pull or do something to Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, this is how it all happens, folks. This is how you consolidate power.
Because they Donald Trump friends.
Yeah.
Yep.
They doing it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not just Disney. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I'm not saying that, Disney does have responsibility, but it's not. It's Sinclair and Nexstar. They're pulling these strings.
Yeah, Mike V says it right. This is it. They captured the media. Now they can broadcast their own ideology. But for years they had a problem with black folks having BET.
And Sinclair and Nexstar told Jimmy Kimmel, if you want to come back. It wasn't Disney. It was Sinclair. It was Sinclair and Nexstar. If you want to come back, you need to apologize to the family.
No, not just apologize. He needs to donate money. I mean, can you imagine?
So, I mean, you know, that's where we are with it. But don't just, it's a lot of layers behind Disney. And now they're threatening The View, Whoopi and all them.
Yeah. Yep.
And guess who now probably is rethinking how they approach things? Gayle King. Everybody is like,
well, Trump mentioned Gayle King directly. That she was on the chopping block. She was next.
And we know that he can do that because Larry Ellison, we talked about him yesterday. The man that's trying to buy TikTok. One of Donald Trump's biggest fundraisers, contributed tons of money to Donald Trump. He's trying to buy TikTok. He owns Paramount, CBS, CNN.
Okay. What else you got?
So that's where we are. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is rich and he'll be fine. But it's not that. It's just what they did to him and what message that sends to every journalist, comedian in a television space. So that's where we are. And let's jump into what to watch this weekend. So the morning show returns to season 4 returns to Apple. Morning show. Now, just this conversation we were talking about, that's what the morning show is about. So if you want to see a show about big tech taking over television and journalists and everything that's happening right now in real time, it's happening on the morning show. So check it out. And then finally, Reasonable Doubt returns. It returned last night. Great show. Black cast, black showrunner. But now, guess what? They're caught like in a Tabitha Brown pickle because now everybody's saying cancel Hulu. And it's like the top black show on Hulu. So, but it returns. 2 episodes dropped last night. So go check that out as well.
All right. Well, Just a quick hit on Black history before we get out of here. On this date, in 1881, Booker T. Washington opened the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. Booker T focused on the practical vocational training and economic self sufficiency for African Americans through the principles of self help and thrift. He was born into slavery, but he built the institution from a small school with few resources into a respected center for higher education with a large campus and endowment by his death in 1915.
All right. And we remember Booker T. Washington today. So what's the black on paper, Stacy?
Black owned paper is the Indianapolis Recorder. It was founded in 1895 as a two-page church bulletin by George P. Stewart and Will Porter. The Indianapolis Recorder newspaper has grown into one of the most enduring and influential African American newspapers in the country. Initially created to serve Indianapolis's Black church community, the publication quickly evolved into a weekly newspaper in 1897. So the Indianapolis Recorder is our Black-owned newspaper of the day.
Nice, nice. And for the latest in Black news, you want to head over to BlackPressUSA.com.
Thanks everybody for joining. Have a great and safe weekend, and we will see you again on Monday.